right, good Tuesday morning. Thanks for catching our First Alert live stream. This is First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Beylon joining you in the First Alert Weather Center. I hope your day is off to a good start. We are starting off with some sun in most places, but let me take you to some spots where it's not as sunny. Let's take you to Oshkosh. Here is a live view from our Oshkosh Skycam. After seeing some early sun, clouds are starting to fill in. We've got a temperature of 42 degrees. It feels like 38. And the wind is listed as being variable at 7 miles an hour, but I'm willing to bet you it's predominantly out of the west and southwest. Hey, at least we're getting some nice shots right there of the fall foliage there at the Opera House Square. So our next weather maker, it is arriving now. We've got some much cooler weather that is about to blow into northeast Wisconsin. We've got cool and breezy days all the way through the midweek. And through the midweek, not only is it going to feel much cooler, but we're going to have some times of clouds and some occasional light showers. So the sun that you might have right now is going to disappear, turning cloudy. Spotty or scattered light showers are possible this afternoon, and our temperatures are going to struggle to warm up. We're at 42 degrees right now in Green Bay. We'll briefly hit a high of 50 around midday, and through the afternoon, temperatures either hold steady or fall back a few degrees as that west wind kicks up a bit of a fuss. So 42 right now in Marinette and Oconto, 44 in Manitowoc, with 45 degrees in Wapaka, with a pair of 39s in Rhinelander and in Anago. There's that west to southwest wind blowing in around 5 to 15 miles an hour. It's going to get stronger as the circulation around low pressure begins to tighten a little bit. And that wind coming around the backside of low pressure, which is swirling near the arrowhead of Minnesota, it is drawing in cooler Canadian air. That's flowing into the western Great Lakes. And a little spoke of energy is coming around the backside of this low pressure system, forming clouds and some spotty showers. Of course, the building cold air aloft in the atmosphere is going to help that sunshine disappear as our skies turn cloudy in the next few hours. So here's First Alert Pinpoint Predictor with today's highs. Well, so much for yesterday's mild mid-60s. We're looking at highs in the 40s, north and west. A high of 49 today in Oshkosh and Fond du Lac, 52 degrees apiece for Sheboygan and for Sturgeon Bay. The wind is going to get stronger out of the west for most of the day with gusts up around 25 miles an hour. So with the cooler weather and that wind, you're going to see a lot of leaves swirling around, maybe blowing off some of the branches. And if you're going out to walk the dog, please don't forget your jacket. Don't forget your sweatshirt. First Alert Pinpoint Predictor shows that sunshine being swallowed up by stratus clouds. And you can see underneath these stratocumulus clouds, you get a little bit of some sprinkly light rain. Some of this is lake enhanced as the main flow of air comes off of Lake Superior, especially into upper Michigan. We'll have some showers. And that band of rain that you see in upper Michigan there this evening, that's actually going to drop into northeast Wisconsin as we go into tonight. So I think for a few hours tonight, we may have more of a steady rain passing through the area. It won't rain all tonight, but for a while it'll be more consistent as opposed to just kind of on and off and very light. During the day Wednesday, a few more showers could blow in from upper Michigan. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of clouds and continued cool weather. So our rain chances look like this: 40% this afternoon, 30% for Wednesday, decreasing to a 20% chance as we go into Thursday. So with that low pressure system slowly moving off to the east, our rain chances will step down about 10% each day. And I think Friday is going to be dry. I do have some slight rain chances for the weekend. There's a little wave of low pressure that's going to pass through the Great Lakes. There's also a disturbance passing by to our south. Nothing seems very organized. However, there's a stronger area of low pressure which may impact the region early next week. So we may have some rain coming in perhaps Monday night, but more likely into next Tuesday. All right, so there's your First Alert Super 7-day forecast. Cool and breezy the next 3 days, a lot of clouds, some spotty showers. Highs will be struggling to get back to about 50 degrees. Our low temperatures the next couple nights will stay above the freezing mark, but What happens is that Thursday night, as high pressure builds in, skies will be clearing out, the wind is going to ease, and that is a good combination for temperatures to tumble Thursday night. I'm giving you another first alert update. I mentioned this yesterday. I'll mention it again today. The end of the growing season may be on the horizon for the Fox Valley and much of east central Wisconsin. First alert pinpoint predictor is painting on that deep purple color. That's the likelihood of widespread frost or a hard freeze. This is for late Thursday night going into Friday morning. So gardeners, get ahead of this and protect any cold sensitive plants. Maybe that means covering them up. Maybe that means bringing them inside. It depends on your situation. Door County might be spared of a widespread frost Thursday night and Friday morning because you're surrounded by that warmer water in comparison, so we'll see what happens there. But the bottom line is that the growing season for east central Wisconsin is quickly coming to an end. It's already over in the north woods, but now that possibility of a killing frost is spreading south and east. The weekend looks a little bit milder, but before we get there, we got to talk about Friday night. Because Friday night, we got playoff high school football games going on. And one of the games, our Operation Football Game of the Week, it's Fox Valley Lutheran at Luxembourg Casco. If you're going to that game or any of the games in northeast Wisconsin, don't forget the coats, don't forget the blankets to keep warm on the bleachers. Temperatures will be dropping through the lower half of the 40s, back into the upper 30s by the end of the games. And I think skies will be mostly clear. Now, Friday night looks mostly clear, but over the weekend, I think you'll see more clouds, and there are those tiny rain chances, which may or may not materialize. But with a south wind, it is going to start to turn a bit milder. We'll have a high of 56 on Saturday and 58 on Sunday, and then it may be a bit unsettled again as we go into early next week. So our temperatures are down today through Wednesday and Thursday, coming back up a little bit over the weekend into Monday. And then in the latter half of next week, the temperatures will tend to trend down once again. I actually don't want to show this. What I want to show is, I have to call it up here on the computer here. It is our updated Halloween forecast. I've been showing this on the TV side the past couple days. I actually have to leave my chair here to actually go push a button over here. And yeah, so the past couple days on the newscast, I've been giving this Halloween forecast, which doesn't want to show, but I'll get it to show, don't worry. All right, right. There we go. All right, better late than never, right? So I think it looks pretty decent this year for a lot of families. You know, some years you get poured on, some years it's windy, some years you even get some snow, but this year, you know, granted it's 10 days out, a good week and a half, things can change. Looks like during the day we'll have clouds and temperatures topping off in the lower half of the 50s, but for evening trick-or-treating we'll fall back into the upper half of the 40s. It's going to be cool and crisp, and hopefully skies will be clearing out for those trick-or-treaters, and fingers and toes crossed, it's going to be a good year. The kids all need to dress warmly, but I don't think they need the heaviest coats over top of those costumes. It's not one of those years. This will be a good year for trick-or-treating if things pan out by the way the computer information looks right now in the First Alert Weather Center. Of course, this can change between now and the next 10 days. We will first alert you to any of those changes as we get closer and closer. That way you and your family and your kids can prepare for some exciting, fun trick-or-treat stuff. All right, don't forget our free WBAY First Alert Weather app is always available if you go into the App Store and you download it. There's lots of great features that it can give you and your family. If you scan that QR code, that's kind of a shortcut to get you there to that App Store. And again, it is free. Coming up on Action 2 News at noon, and again at 4, meteorologist Nolan Kane is going to go through the latest information. I talked with him briefly yesterday. He had some interest on that widespread frost or hard freeze that is possibly heading our way Thursday night into Friday. And what'd you say, Nolan? You said maybe I'm onto something. Maybe, right?
Probably so, with that upper 20s and low 30s.
Yeah. So I think we're definitely kind of honing in on that possibility of the end of the growing season. That'll be something to talk about as we wrap up our week. All right, thanks for watching our First Alert live stream. We hope you have a terrific Tuesday. Don't forget to grab that jacket when you head on out there, because it definitely feels like fall. This feels like the second half of fall, not the first half. You know, the first half where it's sunny and mild and dry and crisp. Now I feel like it's kind of going into the second half of fall. The pendulum is switching towards much cooler weather, breezy, damp, and you get the gist. Kind of the fall that not as picturesque, if you will. So we'll have to deal with that over the next 3 days. But make the most of it. See you around. Bye-bye.